We see it all around us, don't we? It was a major focus of ours here on ENCA yesterday. Urban decay. You drive around some of the big metros in our country, whether it's Joburg, Tshwane, KZN, the list can go on. It doesn't look anything like it used to. The problem is what issues come along with urban decay. Of course, it has a massive socio-economic and environmental impact. It also doesn't look very nice, but then it can even become dangerous. As an example, that gas explosion in Bree Street a couple of weeks ago, certainly to my mind, emphasizing the extent of decay. So let's try and get a sense of just how bad it is. Are we still going downhill? Is there a way to try and stop the rot, if you will? Well, Professor Yunus Ballim from Wits School of Civil and Environmental Engineering joining us this morning. Prof, good morning to you, and thank you very much indeed for your time. Do you agree with me by making the connection between urban decay and that pipe, that gas explosion in Bree Street? Can you connect the two for me? Is that tie up for you?
Well, good morning, and thank you very much. Good morning to your viewers as well. The tie-up is not obvious. Let me say it like that. I'm not aware that that somebody has found a reason for the gas leakage. It clearly was a gas explosion. The cause is actually not clear. Whether it was sabotage, whether it was neglect, whether it was happen chance. I think the issue is, where did the spark come from? But I want to have a conversation about the fact that actually the problem is broader. This may well have been a manifestation of just general urban decay, but there's a bigger problem at hand. And of course, the problem has multiple dimensions. We commonly point to our favorite culprit, whichever one we choose, but actually it's a combination of a series of parallel forces that just arrive at the same time. The first, of course, has been very, very significant and rapid urbanization. The demand for services has gone up very significantly, not only because of population growth, but also because of urbanization and people moving into the cities. The second has been, of course, is aware, the significant flight of big business, sort of, shall I call it, the middle classes from the inner city region, which has resulted in more living.
Prof, I'm starting to wonder if I'm not losing a little bit of your audio there. Forgive me for a second, Prof. I hope you can still hear me. If you can, maybe just pick up on that last comment of yours. You were talking about the urbanization. Then we lost your audio for a second. I don't want to lose anything you're saying. Maybe just restart the idea of the urbanization quickly.
Apologies. I'm sitting at Wits, and I hope the internet is working well.
It seems to be better now, yes.
But
Go ahead.
I was making a point about the fact that we have seen very rapid urbanization and growth. And we've also seen a flight of the big corporate sectors, the business sector, as well as, shall I call them, the middle classes from the inner city, which has resulted in more dense population establishment and settlements, with consequent demand for more services. And so service delivery is a problem, and the demand side is a problem. But the supply side is also a serious problem. We are running short of water, but we're also running short, seriously, of the capacity to manage the service delivery systems that citizens need.
Yeah.
We mustn't lose sight of the fact that Johannesburg and Gauteng is really an important economic heartland of the country. And anything that disrupts the services, we a few years ago saw the closure of the M2, causes almost the city to be constipated, if you want to think of it like that.
Yeah.
And any ambitions about thinking of Johannesburg as a first world, as a world-class city, are lost because we can't keep the roads flowing, we can't keep the water flowing, we can't keep electricity supplied.
It's a multiplicity of issues, isn't it, Prof? It's a huge problem to try and unpack. It's multi-layered. Where would you begin to try and get on top of it, though? I know I'm asking a very unfair, loaded question, but if the answer was up to you and the presidency phoned you, Prof Ballim, and said, OK, where would you begin, Prof? What would you tell them? Where do you even begin to do this?
Well, as you say, the answers, the problem is multifarious, and so are the answers. But for me, in my capacity as a civil engineer and as a senior, I was a senior academic leader, and I'm giving that sense. I think it is essential that we rebuild the capacity.
Oh dear, it looks like we may have a Zoom issue. Prof, I'm so sorry. I'm going to ask you to start that again because I want to make sure that everyone can hear what you're saying. You were talking about being a senior academic leader, and as a civil engineer, you were just starting to give your advice, and we lost your audio again. I'm so sorry. Let's pick that one up again, shall we?
Curses, let's try. I was saying that if I were to ask and bringing that perspective, it is essential that we rebuild the capacity of the bureaucracy to be able to deliver services. And that means good, competent engineers, good, competent managers who sit in the correct offices. I have to say that I think we have too many people, and I'm quoting Dickens, I think, who are sitting in offices to which neither their education nor their nature has called them. We have to start getting a sense that while engineers and technologists do not have all the correct answers always, we have to give reason why we don't take their advice, when they do give us advice. But it is about the capacity to deliver. Because in addition to the fact that we are disadvantaged or affected by the fact that there's not proper water, not proper sewage services, loss of municipal services also undermines society's confidence in the institutions that are meant to give them access to a dignified life. There is essentially the problem. And what you do in the process is you undermine democratic institutions. And so you have to ask a question, why do angry protesters run past a church to burn a clinic or a school? Well, maybe they have confidence in the church, but they've lost their confidence in the ability for the clinic to do what it was meant to do. And herein lies the essence of why it is essential to get our service delivery right. In addition to the economic realities that we're causing, the human harm, the human misery that we create when we don't provide services. But in addition to all of that, it's about the way in which our social institutions operate, and the confidence and the delivery we present to citizens when we say, we're going to try to give you access to the possibility of a dignified life.
Which some would contend is actually not happening at the moment, Prof, as well.
Not at all.
It's not happening at all. And I love the analogy, as I say goodbye to you, I love the way you describe running past the church as protesters, but then attacking the clinic. I think that's such a powerful way of explaining that. Prof, I'm going to say thank you and goodbye for the moment. I'm sure